How's it going, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar, and I'm here today with Tim Seeley at the Vault booth because we're going to be talking about Deathstalker. But before we do, can I just say I've been following your work for a long time now.
I'm old as hell. That's why.
No. So I remember because you started off as an artist. I remember like on did a lot of Transformers and GI Joe stuff.
Devil's Due. I was like staff artist, so I had the only staff artist comic job I think in the world at the time. So we had the rights to GI Joe and Transformers and Dungeons and Dragons. So like I spent like 5 or so years just drawing stuff, and then but I would get driven crazy by drawing stuff for like all these licensing things. So I made up Hack Slash to help my brain, and so then I ended up becoming a writer somehow, I guess.
So because you created Hack Slash, and by the way, I've been following those in collected editions. That opened up the world of writing to you, like
Yeah, kind of. I mean, not as much, I guess. Like it didn't lead directly to writing Batman, because I think Hack Slash people saw it and it looks like it's going to be sleazy and stupid, and it's sleazy and smart, you know. And so I think a lot of like the editors in time weren't sort of like they might be like, that's interesting, but we don't know how we would put you on Spider-Man from this. But then I did Revival, and they're like, oh, okay. Then it was like you have to, in a weird thing in comics, like you have to show them that you can do the thing that they want. They can't really imagine you doing it. So, but it was a crime story and it was taken seriously, and so that led to like more, Nightwing and Grayson and Batman and all that sort of stuff.
my wife is a huge fan of Revival. That's her favorite thing that you've done, which is a really good book. And I found out about Revival because of that Chew Revival.
Yeah,
crossover.
we did a crossover, a weird crossover. Yeah,
Yeah, it was good though. I liked it. So then you went over to DC, did Batman and Nightwing and Grayson, right?
Yep.
So how did you feel about writing Grayson? Were you a fan of Batman?
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, everybody is, I guess. But I specifically, as a kid, I always really liked Robin, and it was kind of that's an entry point character. So when I first started there, and they asked like, hey, what would you do with Dick Grayson? But it can't be Nightwing. And I was like, oh, that's great, because I was like, we can do anything, and I thought that would probably be more interesting. Because as much as I like Nightwing, I still think it's kind of just Daredevil, really, except he's not a lawyer.
He's got a better butt.
He's got a better butt, but he's got a less interesting job, right? Like, so he's got sticks. He fights a fat guy, like, So for me, it wasn't like I didn't love the idea of Nightwing as much, but I loved the idea of Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
And so making him a spy and making the job was that, he's the guy that knows everybody, so he's the perfect guy to have as your sort of man on the inside. That made so much sense to me. And that was one of the most fun I've ever had writing a comic. And I got to work with Tom King. And his career turned out okay.
He's doing okay for himself. Yeah, he's doing okay. Okay, so I know everybody probably asks you about Batman and Grayson and Hack and Slash and Revival, but I loved Shatterstar.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You're the one.
I'm serious. I loved it, man. I push it on my channel whenever the trade paperback came out. Like, it's definitely a hidden gem, especially because there's so many X titles, but it stood out. I just like bringing back the character, putting him in a different type of atmosphere.
It was one of those things when it originally came out was because Marvel wanted to do because Deadpool 2 was coming out, and they knew he was in it, but they didn't know to what degree. And then we were working on the series when we all went and saw Shatterstar. We're like, oh god, like he's not a very serious character in here, and he doesn't appear for very long. So we kind of had to pivot to like, okay, look, we're not going to have this movie to boost the character. We're going to have to just come up with a way to make it interesting. I tried really hard, and I'm glad you liked it.
I did.
And it's one of my, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of how it comes together at the end. Like it all sort of, it has like an arc for that character and everything. But I don't know if anyone else read it. So.
Oh man, it was good. I'm serious. I enjoyed it. It was a different take on the character.
Yeah.
All right, now you got to tell me, because you've been working. This isn't your first Vault project, which we'll talk about here in a second, because you did West of Sundown and
Money Shot.
And Money Shot, which is
right there.
Yes. And is that a variant cover?
Yeah, that's Joey's variant cover. Yeah.
That's a gorgeous variant.
Yeah, very nice.
How did this come about? Because we have to talk about Slash.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the hell? How did that happen?
Well, so I'm working with the Vault guys for like 6 years or so, and for a long time we were talking about when the hard shell stuff came together. They're like, we have a thing we want to talk to you about. And so they pitched that to me, which was it was one of the people involved in the hard shell. I won't tell you who, but it was perfect. And I was like, I really want to do that. And then it kind of got delayed. So, but Adrian was like, well, we do have another thing. It's going fast, and it's with Slash. And I was like, oh, I'm assuming it's going to be like a autobiography or something. And he's like, nope. Slash wants to do Roger Corman's Deathstalker. And I was like, wait, what?
That's so
Yeah. And he was like, have you ever seen those movies? Like, have I ever seen those movies?
I think anybody
Yeah.
our age, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it hit at the perfect time for me. I was like 7 in 1984, and I think we got our first DVD or VHS player around then. My dad's a genre head, so every weekend he would rent horror movies and fantasy and sci-fi movies. And Deathstalker was one I must have seen, 10, 15 times.
That VHS cover alone was
the
so
Boris
awesome.
Vallejo art and everything.
Yeah.
And the movie is obviously more low budget than the Conan movie that came out, but with this fantasy movie, you can't really tell, at the time anyway. So to me, it just seemed like another cool world. Like it was as valid as Conan. It was as valid as any bigger budget movie. So, so when he asked, I was like, is that something you could come up with an idea for? I was like, I got that. Yeah, he's got like a glowing sword like He-Man in the first movie, but he also just has sex with all the ladies. Yeah, I can handle that.
You can handle
that's
that?
my area, yeah.
So, how involved is somebody? Like, how did that even happen? Like, Slash, Guns N' Roses, Slash, and it's like, yeah, I want to do Deathstalker, and they're like, okay.
I mean, it's so interesting. Imagine this: you're a musician, a god of rock, really, and you can do whatever you want if you were so inclined. But he used to work at Tower Video in the 80s, the video store.
Wow.
Back in the 80s.
Okay.
And he was super into the B movies.
Wow.
So he had made this deal already, and this was just like, want to make it as a comic.
So how? Then it's got to be different, right? Writing your own thing and then writing something like this because you're co-writing it, or how involved with?
We come up with a sort of plot, basic idea together, and Steve Kostansky is involved. He directed Psycho Gorman, and some of the.
It's a great movie.
That's Steve.
Underrated.
Yeah, he's amazing. He also made Manborg, which is my favorite personal film he's made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was
That's
weird,
Steve.
but I love Psycho.
So the story stuff came from all of us jamming, sort of what would be the overall story.
Yeah.
And then I wrote the outline. I passed it back to Steve and Slash, and they gave their ideas and notes. And then, most of it is just like written like comic book style between me and Jim. And then we take the ideas from Slash and Steve. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's so. Yeah, when you get emails from him, is it like signed Slash?
Yep.
Yes, that's so badass. Okay.
Yeah. It also, when he's on a Zoom though, it's his real name underneath it, and then you're like, hey, Slash. I can't call him Saul. I can't do it. I don't feel like I've earned that. So.
That guy's a legend. Wait, so are you in the comics field?
Yeah. Comics and Guns N' Roses, like,
They kind of go together.
Yeah,
honestly.
absolutely.
They
But
go together.
the numbers quite different.
What do they know? So what else are you working on these days? Where can people see your work?
Yeah, lots of stuff. I have a new Master of the Universe series, a prequel to the Revolution show. It's called Master of the Universe Forge of Destiny. That comes out from Dark Horse. I'm also doing the current Money Shot series, which is about how billionaires are terrible. That wraps up next week, I think. And then I'm doing Minor Threats, The Alternates, which is a book with Jordan Bloom, Patton Oswalt, Chris Mitten. It's about a group of superheroes who essentially, they got rebooted a bunch of times into like more adult superheroes, but now they're back in the old universe. And they're trying to like deal with the fact that they used to be able to like have giant drug orgies and stuff. And now, they're just sort of like low-end superheroes. So that one's coming out. Issue 2 comes out next week. And let's see what else. And then Deathstalker, I think, is that? Oh, and Logo Man. Logo Man, my Image series, issue 6 comes out next week. The trade just came out last week, and I haven't tried it out. I think it's one of the best things I've ever done. So check that one out. The trade is out, last week, and issue 6 is out this week.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to meet you.